Guys, if you listen to any theater podcast, you've definitely listened to this podcast. So we are here with the Broadwaysted podcast. I don't even know like how to begin to describe this podcast. It's like, you ever wanted to hear like drunk Sierra Boggess? Well, this is the place for you. So can you tell us all who you are and what the podcast really is?
Sure. So we are Broadwaysted. We are a podcast where we basically essentially get drunk on theater. We just bring on the stars of New York theater and bring booze and then just see what happens with conversation. We play games and have a good time. I'm Kevin.
I'm Brian. To kind of go off of what Kevin said, the idea is that you can hear a lot of interviews through a lot of other different media, that talk about the shows and their process and things of that nature. We want to get to know all of the actors kind of on a casual, like you're sitting around the table with us, and we just want to make them more accessible as just, they're people too.
Yeah.
I'm Kimberly. I'm our game master, and so we play drinking games each week as well. And we are the happiest hour on Broadway. We like to say.
Yeah, okay, so y'all have had like literally everyone on the podcast. I was like,
No, there's still more.
how are you getting Laura Austin's drunk right now? It was just like a thing that happened. So you did like, it was like the start of the year. So like you all, instead of like, it was like an episodic series. So can you tell people what that is? Because I was in love with it.
So we did a little radio play written by the fantastic Kevin.
Hey.
A Christmas Carol Channing. It was 3 parts. Kevin wrote it. We had all of our friends of the show kind of participate, full of puns, full of, sound effects. And, we do interviews every week and kind of wanted to do something special for the holidays to kind of, it was a nice kind of wrap up for the year of our guests, our culture, our fun and excitement. And Kevin kind of led that.
The show at its essence is just celebrating people who just love Broadway, who love Broadway not just for the performances and the lights and everything, but love to hang out with their friends, have a couple beers or drinks, and just talk about the great shows they've seen. And so in order to like play into that culture, like taking something that everyone's celebrating like the holidays and giving people another chance to infuse Broadway into their daily life was just something we're very passionate about. And I think that doing these radio plays was a great way to get that out there and just have some fun with some people who will come on the show.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get in rapid fire questions. So we need your number one, like you will die if this person comes on the podcast.
Donna Murphy. Rapid fire, man.
Oh, who's Laura Benanti? Laura Benanti.
I would die. Sondheim.
Yeah.
Good one.
That was that. Sondheim's a god. So
Yeah,
that was just
amen.
like, okay. So what is your favorite podcast to date?
My favorite podcast. Ooh.
Or just in general?
Yeah, anything.
Oh.
I really like Gilmore Guys. I like it when they talk about, it's 2 guys, one that's seen Gilmore Girls, one that hadn't before, and they're just watching through and talking about it. It's just a really funny perspective for any guy who grew up with sisters who made them watch shows that they probably wouldn't have watched.
Hey, it's a great show.
Mine is Blank Check with Griffin and David. It is a movie podcast where it started as a Star Wars podcast, but they've transitioned into a director filmography podcast. So they will take, each episode is like 2.5 hours, and they will actually take the director's filmography, and each episode is like a breakdown of that specific movie, but like wrapping it all together with how their filmography has gone. They're so funny, they're so smart. One of them is Griffin Newman, who's in The Tick. It's my favorite thing in the world.
My favorite right now, I just started. It's called Off Book, and it's
Oh,
a
so
completely
good.
improvised musical podcast. It's 2 hosts and a guest, and they literally podcast. I know, it's like the funniest thing. They start with an interview, and then their music director just starts playing at some point, and they do a 2-act musical.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
It's
It
so
is.
good.
Like, I have messed up my mascara because I started to laugh, like, while I'm listening to it.
Amen.
Obsessed.
Guys, go listen to all these podcasts. Also, where can people find you all in, all the places to listen to the podcast and also on social media?
So on social media, you can find us at Broadwaysted. That's Broadway Wasted. So it's Broadwaysted all the way through. You can also find us on iTunes.
5 stars, please.
Yeah, and so we also have a weekly article on Broadway World that you can find stuff about that.
Yeah.
Or check out Broadwaysted.com.
Now, I'm a super fan, so can we get the official Broadwaysted ending?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Zoo-doo-wop-bum.
Oh, my God. Oh, you're still here. Why are you still here? Yeah, no, the video's over. Yeah, go home. Bye. Seriously, go home.